The year is 1959. Lewis Strauss. Nuclear physicist. Direct advisor to President Dwight D. Eisenhower. He pitches an idea that sends shockwaves through U.S. defense circles. That idea: detonate a nuclear bomb to create an artificial lunar eclipse. One visible from every corner of the Earth. 10 years later. July 12, 1969. 8 days before Apollo 11 is scheduled to touch down on the Moon. Senator William Proxmire throws a political grenade. The United States has already spent $10 billion on the Apollo program. No official, clearly defined goal exists for the program. The year is 1957. The Cold War rages at full intensity. The USSR launches Sputnik, the world's first artificial satellite. The United States loses the first round of the space race. August 17, 1958. U.S. Army General James Gavin. A key figure in the U.S. Army. A top advisor on new weapons systems. He publishes an article in Harper's Magazine. The title: The Nuclear Bomb in Space. In it, he breaks down the military implications of deploying nuclear weapons outside Earth's atmosphere. 1960. NASA secretly launches Project A-119. The project's stated focus: studying the use of nuclear bombs to propel spacecraft. This entire timeline is confirmed by 3 unimpeachable sources: NASA's official archives, the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library, and the 1970 U.S. Senate Dodd Commission report. The official version of the story, locked into place by 1962, leaves no room for debate. September 12, 1962. John F. Kennedy stands before a packed crowd at Rice University in Houston, Texas. He frames the Apollo program as a defining national and scientific challenge. His words: "We choose to go to the moon in this decade, not because it is easy, but because it is hard." Officially, Apollo has one single, stated purpose: prove U.S. technological superiority over the Soviet Union. A second stated goal: develop innovations that benefit daily life, advance materials, computing breakthroughs, telecommunications upgrades. 1972. Richard Nixon formally ends the Apollo program. He justifies the decision by claiming the program's official goal has been fully achieved. U.S. government officials consistently dismiss all rumors of lunar nuclear bomb tests as unsubstantiated speculation with no documented basis. The U.S. government claims the Apollo program had no military component. August 17, 1958. That's 4 full years before Kennedy's Rice University speech. General James Gavin publishes that exact Harper's Magazine piece, The Nuclear Bomb in Space. In it, he explicitly outlines the military benefits of stationing nuclear weapons outside Earth's atmosphere. The U.S. government claims Project A-119, launched in 1960, focused solely on using nuclear bombs to propel spacecraft. The 1970 U.S. Senate Dodd Commission report confirms a staggering number: more than $20 billion spent on the Apollo program. Not once were the program's military goals detailed to members of Congress. The U.S. government claims Senator Proxmire exaggerated in 1969 when he decried $10 billion without a clear goal. The John F. Kennedy Presidential Library archives tell a different story. Kennedy himself ordered his closest advisors to minimize any mention of Apollo's military components in his public speeches. That's when 1995 declassified documents would uncover a detail no one had dared to confront. The year is 1995. NASA officially declassifies the 1960 Project A-119 final report. This is done via the Freedom of Information Act. The document confirms its original framing, a study on nuclear spacecraft propulsion. Its newly unredacted annexes reveal a hidden focus. That focus: the effects of a nuclear detonation in space near the Moon. The 1970 U.S. Senate Dodd Commission report confirms a second critical detail. That detail, $20.3 billion spent on Apollo between 1960 and 1970. The document also reveals a second, damning fact. 72% of that classified spending has no scientific justification on record. Témoignage: Senator William Proxmire testifies under oath on the U.S. Senate floor. The date, July 12, 1969. His words: "We have poured $10 billion into a program whose real goals are hidden from the public and most members of Congress." An internal memo from the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library exists. Dated September 1, 1962. It confirms a direct order from the President to his top advisor, McGeorge Bundy. The order: remove all references to space military capabilities from draft speeches about Apollo. Here's what the documents actually prove. The lunar nuclear bomb rumors were not conspiracy theories. They were rooted in an official U.S. military plan. The unredacted 1960 Project A-119 annexes. This document confirms the study's hidden second component. It was never just about nuclear propulsion. It tested one specific feasibility. That feasibility, a nuclear detonation on the moon's visible face. That is exactly the idea Lewis Strauss pitched in 1959. Create an artificial lunar eclipse, visible from every corner of the Earth. Inference: the available evidence suggests a clear, unspoken goal. Prove the U.S. could control space. Establish a military and geopolitical monopoly over this new, unclaimed territory. General James Gavin wrote this exact scenario in 1958. His words: "A nuclear device in space could block any rival nation from accessing the moon." That line aligns precisely with the secret goals of Apollo and Project A-119. These revelations are not just ancient history. The year is 2019. President Donald Trump announces the Artemis program. Its stated goal: return U.S. astronauts to the moon by 2024. It includes no public details of potential military goals, just like John F. Kennedy's 1962 Apollo announcement. No one has ever questioned, or prosecuted, a single U.S. government official for the secret components of Project A-119 or the Apollo program. The year is 2020. 32 nations signed the Artemis Accords. China and Russia publicly condemn the Accords as a U.S. power play. They frame it as a plan to monopolize lunar resources, water, minerals, and raw materials. That is exactly the fear James Gavin outlined in 1958, total U.S. control of space. This context reignites the debate over the true, unspoken motivations behind U.S. space programs. 60 years have passed since the first space race to the moon began. The questions remain the same. Declassified NASA and U.S. Senate documents leave no room for doubt. The lunar nuclear bomb rumors were never baseless speculation. The Apollo program and Project A-119 hid explicit military goals. Those goals establish unchallenged U.S. dominance over space. What are the real, unstated goals of the Artemis program? Will the moon race's hidden history repeat itself? Subscribe to The Truth They Hide so you don't miss our next deep dive into the Artemis program.